to the Under 21 Convention, Orlando, Florida 2016. And right now we're going to hear a very, very special speech, a personal speech, a talk that literally every man needs to hear who's entering into a relationship. You know, that's our goal. We want to have close connections with people. But how do we have close connections with people and keep ourselves safe, keep ourselves sane? And what can we look out for? You know, and as I said, as we started out this convention, I'm always going to put my money on this guy. He's a guy who's built this convention, founded it, you know, inspired so many men in direction, life, and how to be a great man. But that also comes at a price. We're going to talk about that today. Let's get into it, man. A guy that I respect. I'm honored to be affiliated with this convention in any way. This is Anthony Johnson, founder and CEO of the 21 Convention.
Thanks. Thanks, Steve. All right, guys, let's start this off strong. Raise your hand if you're comfortable with this question. Raise your hand if you have ever had sex with a prostitute without a condom. Okay. Keep your hand raised if you've had sex with a prostitute without a condom over 1,000 times. Hope I have your attention. And yes, buckle your fucking seatbelt. This is going to be one hellish of a fucking ride. This speech is titled Marrying Medusa, How to Survive a Female Psychopath. Yes, that is her, and yes, that is a red knife. Socrates helped me find this picture. Crop it. Sunday, August 21st, 2011. I meet Dr. Ron Paul here in Orlando at a hotel not too far from here. In my view, he's a 3-time presidential candidate and a 12-term congressman from Texas. He's probably one of the greatest men living. Meeting him, one of my heroes, was absolutely fucking fantastic. We were early in the morning, Sunday morning, got to meet him, take a few pictures with him, with another speaker too from the 21 Convention. Later that day, I also meet the darkest creature known to man. I don't mean specifically either Medusa. I mean psychopath, and we'll get into that. We're going to go through a timeline. You don't need to read this. I'm going to fire it off to you guys pretty quick. Yeah. September 9th, 2011, a few weeks later, after meeting Medusa, merrily, relationship begins. Throughout 2012, we travel around the world for the 21 Convention. I hold it 3 times on 3 different continents within a span of about 6 months. That was London, England, Austin, Texas, and Melbourne, Australia. I met Mike McNally there and a number of other people throughout the year. July 30th, 2013, the engagement begins. February 2nd, 2014, we're married. Marriage begins. Also, coincidentally, it's Ayn Rand's birthday, my favorite philosopher. November 19th, 2015, her behavior begins to go off the rails in a very visible way that's very obvious. February 21st, 2016, I discover one instance of adultery. February 25th, she confesses to former prostitution in 2002 for only 5 days and 5 clients. Notice how specific this is. Over-specific. And each client had a very specific story. One was a doctor, one was a dentist, one was a banker, one was a virgin, etc., etc. Very, very specific stories with it. February 26th, the next day, she confesses to rampant infidelity for the entire 4.5-year relationship, beginning 24 hours. And I remember this day, after we went exclusive, started the relationship, stopped seeing other people. Well, one of us did. So in a 4.5-year relationship, she was monogamous for less than 24 hours. It's probably 20 hours or whatever it was. That's how extensive the adultery, the infidelity was. She also confesses on February 26th to identical cheating just like this in every single relationship she has ever had beginning 20 years ago at age 14. She's 34 currently, about to be 35. She also admits to pathological lying about almost everything in the entire relationship. Clearly big stuff like infidelity, hidden prostitution in her past, hiding, of course, her past relationship experience. She'd never admitted to cheating like this. And even little stuff around the house, making food and stuff, soaps for me and Sasha, some of the speakers, just little shit, big shit, everything. All lies, all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 4.5 years. Also, even given everything that just occurred on February 25th and 26th this year, she still claims to still not be 100% honest. Still not 100% honest. After all this comes out in a very short amount of time, I'm like, holy shit, what else could there be? And of course, me and Socrates and a few of the speakers trying to think this through, right? Is she pregnant? Was she born a man? No, I saw a birth certificate. She was born a female. I was really worried about that. So still not 100% honest, right? So what could it be? Before we get into that, let's take a look. Actually, she not only admitted that verbally, right? But that's a serious claim for me to say that she admitted that verbally. This was a written confession she gave, talking exactly about that confession, just back in May this year. This is an email she sent me, May 3rd. I'm sure that it doesn't matter. I sent her a really nasty email. I knocked like a shot back. I get drunk in like one shot, so I was like, you entitled feminist super cunt. I don't usually say this to women, but yeah, definitely laying it down. Really didn't appreciate that. So she goes, I'm sure that it doesn't matter to you that when you say I was a sex worker, she likes to call herself a call girl, not a sex worker or a prostitute, call girl. It was just after a hurricane and my only source of income was destroyed, or that I worked for exactly 5 days and had 5 customers, of which there was no sex involved with 3 of those 5, because that makes it okay, right? You trade sex for money with 2 of 5 instead of 5 of 5. Or that as soon as I paid my rent for that month, I never went back, my sob story, that it was the only resource for me as a scary 20-year-old with no skills. Remember I told you about the over-specific stuff? This is more of it. 5 days, 5 clients, very, very specific sob story. Oh no, did it once, 5 days, never did it again. Before continuing on the timeline, because this story keeps going, as you might imagine. Got some ice on that, hang on. Let's go over some goals of this talk, right? At least for the online audience, you guys here know me, so you trust to some extent I'm not totally crazy, right? Online, people might not know who the fuck's going on when they watch this years from now. So one of the goals of the talk is to hopefully convince you that I'm not totally insane, just like partially in the best of ways, right? Another goal is I have to convince you that the boogeyman exists. After that, I have to convince you that half the time it's a boogie woman, so the boogeyman's a female. Third, I have to convince you that hiding under the sheets is not going to work, because this monster, this boogeyman, this boogie woman, does not live in the closet, hide in the closet, doesn't hide under the bed. It's hiding under the sheets with you, and it's sucking your dick. So hiding under the sheets usually works, not in this case. Let's go over the purpose of the speech, too. First, I want to share an experience that, like Steve said, is very, very personal, clearly. And that's for me and for you guys, so you can learn from that, so you can see it, and so I can verbalize it, organize it, get it out there, and get feedback on it. So it's for me as much as it is for you guys, too. I want to make it real, and I want to make it personal as well, this experience. This is something that Socrates talked about in his 2014 keynote speech at the 21 Convention in Tampa, Florida, talking about the sexual marketplace and your personal map to it. He really tried to make it personal. In fact, he used me and Marilee as a marriage and a married couple to make it more personal for you guys. So I'm following in his footsteps, trying to do that with this presentation. And we are going to make it really fucking personal. I want to share the lessons I learned, some of the mistakes I made, at least that so far I've been able to identify in the span of 4 months since it's happened, 16 weeks now. I want to educate you guys the best that I can, inspire you to action, not inaction, not just sitting on your ass, hiding in your closet from anywhere you can from the monsters, right? And I want to warn you that you are highly attractive targets and you're at high risk of the same thing happening to you. Just like it happened to me, just like it happened to David Tien, just like it's happened to Socrates and many other speakers. Psychopaths and predators and monsters of this magnitude are very attracted to quality targets. You guys are here in person and online, hit or miss, who knows? I don't know exactly who's watching. But y'all are here, y'all showed up. You invested in yourself, you took action, you flew across the country, you flew across the world, did all kinds of crazy shit to get your ass here in person in that seat. This means you are not mediocre, you are not average, you are in the top 10-something% of the population doing this, at least in terms of what psychopaths and predators want. Empathy, motivation, quality, they want quality targets. Vampires do not like shitty blood, they want the high quality stuff. If you have emotional skills and you're working on these things, and you're improving your life, you have empathy and you can be a high quality person, that's what they want. They do not want average, they want quality. And y'all have that. So you guys are at high risk, and that's a major purpose of this talk, is to warn you of that. Because what I used to think, and we're going to get into this, is that I thought I understood how to spot crazy pretty good. Not as good as some of the speakers for sure, but I was like, I'm not bad at this. I can spot this. I was able to avoid it for a long time really well. But in doing so, I never realized how attractive I was as a target to the top predators, psychopaths. Another thing we need to talk about right now, right off the bat, is that this is, I think, the #1 knee-jerk response we're going to get online, maybe in person too. That this is just a bad breakup, clearly I'm upset, clearly crazy as shit happened, right? One of the things I learned from this book, though, that I read not too long ago, but has been absolutely fucking amazing, Psychopath-free, is that any relationship, intimate relationship especially, with a psychopath, sociopath, narcissist, or other toxic person, is fundamentally different and fundamentally worse than even the worst breakup you've ever seen between two human beings, who are just human beings who have their flaws, they make mistakes, they make bad choices, they have bad ideas, or whatever the fuck. It is it's 100 times worse than the worst breakup you've ever seen. And I mean people screaming at each other, yelling, fighting, slashing tires, all kinds of stupid shit. That stuff is nothing in comparison to this. Because when you're breaking up from a pathological relationship with a predator, you have a predator versus prey scenario, or a human versus anti-human scenario going on, which makes it very, very different. It means that the predator had intent and was specifically hunting you and had intent to harm you over a long period of time. Even in the worst breakup you've ever seen, you don't have that. You have people who are making mistakes, they're planning stuff for a few days at a time at best, or it's just happening heat of the moment. They're getting emotional, making bad decisions, shit like that. And that stuff's bad, right? I'm not downplaying that, trivializing it. But with a psychopath, when you're breaking up from a psychopath or something like that, or someone not toxic, it's very, very different. So if you're thinking right now that I just had a bad breakup, a lot of shit going on, I'm upset, clearly, try to put that idea aside for this presentation. Just take it, put it aside, be open-minded, active-minded for the duration of the presentation. If I don't convince you by the end of the speech, pick that idea back up, no problem with that. But for the duration of this presentation, be open-minded to the idea that this is not just a really bad breakup. It's fundamentally different. And there are hundreds of thousands of people every year that go through it, just like I did, just like David Tien did. Also, in a breakup with a psychopath, so this is also how to survive a female psychopath, right? It's absolutely critical to not just walk away or to not seek out the truth. You need to seek out the truth to the fucking max, which is different from a regular breakup where you can probably just ignore a lot of it because there wasn't intent, there wasn't premeditated harm going on in the relationship. And you don't just want to walk away. If you walk away from a super toxic relationship with a really fucked up person like this, you're going to miss the education of a lifetime, and you're still going to be prone for it to happening all over again. A lot of people who go through breakups with toxic people, like this book talks about, they don't figure it out. The toxic person manages to discard them, and they don't figure out that everything that happened, or almost everything that happened, was planned, which is very specific and unique to these kind of creatures. And if you don't learn that after a relationship with one, you're going to get into another one. So, continuing on the timeline. Early March 2016, I moved to Orlando immediately when I found out about the cheating. The first one, the one was one guy before I found out about all the cheating. Started packing up, was moving out, took the ring off immediately, we're done. Still kind of slow packing up though, it took a few days. Then though, when I found out about all the cheating, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I was out in 15 hours. And then I was at Socrates' house. He took me in for a few weeks like a men's shelter, like I mentioned yesterday. That's what I was talking about. Marilee's up there for a few days with me. Did the walk of shame into his house right in front of Socrates and his fiance. They knew exactly everything that had happened. But she had sworn me to secrecy, and I still had some lingering loyalty about the prostitution, so I didn't tell anyone. She left, and I got to thinking, I was like, you know what? I need to tell at least one person about this. I was at Socrates' house. We're out in the back one night. You guys were there last night, knocking back a drink, and I'm like, Dan, I got to tell you something. And you can't tell anyone, even Mary Frances. And he's like, all right. I'm like, seriously? He's like, yep. So I tell him about the prostitution. He strongly suspects immediately that the confession about being a prostitute for 5 days and 5 nights, 5 customers, was just a preview of the truth and was not the whole truth. The same way with the cheating, it was one guy, And then 5 days later, it's like a whole bunch for years, right? It's a preview. Starts out small, ends up big. He encourages me immediately to look for evidence of continued prostitution, which her rampant infidelity at 20 years strongly suggests. Most women don't start escorting prostitution and then just stop. They start and they never stop a lot of the time. 12 hours later, I find evidence in 2015 of her doing it. Later, I find evidence in 2013 and 2011. So after finding the evidence in 2015, it's the middle of the day. Dan's at work. He's an architect. Mary Frances, his fiance, is there with the baby. I'm looking in, we're going to go over it in a second, but I'm looking in her phone records because I'm the master account holder for our cell phone company. She has a number, but I have the account. I find evidence of it, and I just proceed to have panic attacks for 8 hours at Sock's house. I'm just calling up all the speakers. I'm like, Nick, dude, she's a fucking hooker. I tell Steve. Steve's like, yeah, man, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. I'll never forget how cool Steve was. He's like, yeah, man, the personality totally makes sense. I'm calling up Bravo, like all these people. He's like, yeah, she's going to try to hurt you, man, which is what Socrates said, too. So I'm just calling up all the speakers. I'm like, she's a fucking hooker. I'm just freaking out. Because, of course, I'm still waiting my STD tests at this point. I don't know if I have HIV, Hep C, type 2 herpes. I don't fucking know. I'm a germ freak anyway, so I'm freaking out, panting for hours and hours and hours. Yeah, it sucks. So yeah, this was the first evidence I found, just being at his house in the middle of the day. It was a call log from March and April 2015. And I see some numbers from the keys, because I don't really know what the hell I'm looking for, right? I'm like, prostitution, I don't know, let's look through the phone records, see what's there. I see some numbers from the keys, at least that's the city it's showing, and I'm like, who does she know in the keys? I'm like, nobody. Like, let me Google that. So I Google it. Immediately we pull up, and she's texting back and forth with this, right? Rank escorts, companion reviews, Florida Companion, and my personal favorite, Hoes on Call. Fort Myers, Naples, Sarasota escorts. This is all where we lived in Southwest Florida. This is all in there. And then again later, I didn't decide to show it, but this is, I think, it's ample enough. I find text messages in 2013 from when she did escorting in Los Angeles the night before her plastic surgery. She was $500 short. She was begging me for it before she left, and I was like, look, I can't give it to you. You'll have to ask your sister for it or something like that. She's like, all right. No, she did an in-call when she got to Los Angeles and picked up the $500 that way. That's fucked. And then in 2011, 2 days after my birthday, I found a couple emails where she's impersonating a BDSM star, Eve Ellis. She used to brag to my friends about this. I should look like this porn star. It's actually a BDSM star. Redhead, pale, large breasts, looks a lot like her, so she would impersonate this person, which is illegal. And then use those for escorting photos, which kept her face off the internet for escorting, with review pages, things like that, people looking for the pictures of her. So basically, she's been an escort, admitting to starting it in 2002, all the way through 2015. Completely hid this from me the whole time. And we're going to get into this, but yeah, whole fucking time. How much she actually did it to during the relationship is anybody's guess. At least the technically four clients that I found, probably double that I didn't find, if not a lot more. But how much, only she would know. Let's continue the timeline. May 2016, at Socrates' recommendation, I've been looking into personality disorders for a while, right? Cluster B stuff specifically, the few things that Kevin, our GM, mentioned with dissociative identity disorder. She has a lot of different aliases, different names she goes by, so it was very, very weird looking. But anyway, in May 2016, I began studying severe personality disorders, narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths. Later in May 2016, just like David Dean talked about, I discovered the HARE checklist for psychopaths, the gold standard. Basically, it's a Merrily checklist. I read this checklist, and I'm reading an item-by-item list of my ex-wife. I review it with one medical doctor with a focus on mental health who met Merrily and who's familiar with me and everything that happened at this point. His conclusion is that firmly he supports my conclusion that she is a psychopath, but ultimately, like every psychopath, she'd need to be diagnosed by a forensic or criminal psychologist, which is never going to happen. That's always the story with psychopaths. You can spot it, but then getting them diagnosed is very difficult. They'll never go with it. June 1st, 2016, I discover Psychopath Free, my new favorite book that I'm recommending to you guys out the ass. This is particularly interesting because this book is a detailed biographical account of the past 4.5 years of my life. Reading it was one of the creepiest, eeriest experiences. I read it very quickly in like a day. of experiences in my life, though. A detailed, month by month, minute by minute account of the things she did that I couldn't see, going on right under my nose, the manipulation, the all kinds of psychological war games with my heart and my mind. It's all in here, because there's a whole group of people, hundreds of thousands of people that go through this every year, kind of like the pickup community. They have their own terms for it, they're identifying it, they're trying to understand it, they're putting it in book form and on websites, and it's fucking amazing, this whole community of people. So that book really takes things to the next level. Later in June 2016, early this month, I finally, along with the hair checklist and reading this book, as far as I can tell, along with Socrates and the MD, I know that she's a true, genuine female psychopath in the psychological, not the conventional sense. So a lot of people say my ex is crazy, or I have a psycho ex-girlfriend or ex-wife. I don't mean it like that. I mean it in like the Ted Bundy, Hannibal Lecter, Dexter sense, like psychopath, 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 which is a very specific term with a real meaning. And it actually does not mean crazy. We'll get into that in a minute, but let's talk more about the book too. A few of the really key things in it, right out of the table of contents, that are just fascinating to go through with psychopaths, sociopaths, and narcissists. And so the book talks too about a lot of the similarities, right? It doesn't even focus a lot on the conditions that these people experience. It focuses on you being a survivor of a relationship with these people. So it draws on the similarities. One of them is the manufactured soulmate. So my friend Tim is here in the back. When he met Marilee for the first time, one of my closest friends, his first comment to me about her, and I'll never forget this, was, "She's just like you, but a girl," which is very specific to what they do. Psychopaths in particular are really good at mirroring your personality. So she was basically, in that point, the first 6 months of the relationship, in complete observation mode and parrot mode. She was listening to everything I said, and I'm very honest, I'm very open, dishing it out to the max, right? Mirroring it all back, and mirroring it as best she can back to my close friends, who she knows she's gonna have to get by to be with me. Basically, they're robotically manufacturing a soulmate for you by just mirroring you. It's also personalized grooming along with the mirroring. They're trying to cater to your every single little need. They then go through identity erosion, where they undermine you and your sense of self, self-esteem to the best that they can by probing your mind, probing what you think about, what you value, what your insecurities might be, all these things. The grand finale is what started, if you remember, on November 19th when the behavior went off the rails. She actually planned this out. And then over the next few months, tried to destroy me as best she could in a grand finale, which Sasha was there for a lot of, and his wife. Socrates was always on the phone. Every few days or few weeks, I'd be calling him, new crazy shit going on. All kinds of crazy shit went on. The book also identifies and gives concepts to some of these specific actions they're taking with you, psychopath, sociopath, and narcissist. They go through mean sweet cycles where they're really, really nice to you for a few weeks and then really, really mean, and it's on purpose. It's not like she's going through her period or something like that, or some up and down of life. It's on purpose. Mean, or nice, super nice. Cooking, buying you shit, love bombing, dropping stuff on you constantly, then mean as fuck, flipping it all around. And they're basically trying to wear you down, whittle you away, who you are. There's also the idealization, like we talked about. They're trying to make sure that they're your soulmate. They're creating one for you, so they're idealizing you and themselves for you. They're mirroring you. Later, they go through devaluation. They take the things that they said for years that they loved about you the best. They flip these around as negatives on purpose. Triangulation is when they pick up specifically an adult or infidelity partner, and they then begin trying to flaunt it, trying to get caught in some meaningful way, right? To build cognitive dissonance. They're dropping clues. They're trying to fuck with you. They're trying to stress you out. Reverse triangulation is when you're used for the next victim. So she currently has the next victim, right? One of the partners, the adultery partners in the end. I'm not being used in reverse. Oh, my ex is crazy, like all our other exes, right? Oh, they're all crazy. But you're so much better. You're perfect. He was this way, now you're perfect. It's just setting up the next target. She did the same thing with me. She had a 4-year relationship. That guy was reverse triangulation. I was like, oh, so I'm not like that guy. Great. It's all bullshit. One of the things psychopaths do in particular, and you should YouTube this, is they look for psychopaths in confessions they do. You'll see them being interviewed from criminal psychologists and stuff. They build your trust as much as they can by doing really nice things for you and supporting you. It's with intent to build your trust up as high as they fucking can, to then later betray it. People do betray your trust in life, right? That happens. They promise you all these things, they work with you, and then they make a bad choice, they betray you. Psychopaths do this on purpose, to fuck with you and hurt you. Think about that. Build your trust up. And one of the ways she did this, for example, is working with this company. She had her own show, the 21 Report. If you guys ever seen on YouTube and stuff, she interviews the speakers. She didn't do this to support the company. She doesn't give a fuck about this company or what we're doing. She did it to build my trust so that I cared for her more, trusted her more, had more confidence in her, to later undermine it, betray it, and abuse it, and cause massive psychological trauma with it. Love bombing is probably one of the most interesting. It's where it's like carpet bombing you with love, right? First 6 months of the year relationship, just showering you with gifts, fucking like crazy at 3-4 hours a day, every day of the fucking week. I love you, I love you, I love you, you're perfect, you're perfect, you're perfect, all this fucking bullshit. And then it's finally combined with excessive flattery, which I have some examples of. Excessive flattery would too be like stuff that is just so over the top, it just sounds ridiculous. One of them, for example, she said right at the end of, right after the divorce, she said something like, I didn't realize you had the self-esteem of a Greek god, to me. And I think pretty highly of myself, but I'm like, what the fuck? Like, who says this? I don't even say that shit. That's the excessive flattery. They're trying to build your trust up, they're trying to manipulate you, they're trying to set you up. Along with love bombing, which is, yeah, it's just super, super intense. Much more intense than any other relationship you're going to have with a normal person. Before continuing, let's set some more context here. Much time? Hour. So, first of all, psychological, emotional abuse, and torture are every bit as real as their physical counterparts and are much more sinister. They're more sinister because they're not honest. Physical abuse, domestic violence, and physical torture are at least honest in that you can see them. Psychological abuse, emotional abuse, relationship abuse, when it's hidden like this, it's basically the difference between force and fraud. Force you can defend against more clearly, right? It's honest, it's in your face. If a partner, husband or wife is getting beaten, people see it, law enforcement can get involved, friends and family can get involved, and all that. With emotional and psychological abuse, it's really hard to see. Not only can you not see it being set up, the people around you also can't see it. So it's much more sinister than that, and it's also just as real. I mention that specifically because a lot of people don't take this kind of relationship abuse seriously. They see domestic violence, and then everything short of that is not even close. No. Psychological trauma and torture and emotional abuse are very fucking real. And think about this. You get a black eye from your partner, right? That's fucking serious. Someone's gonna go to jail for that possibly, right? But that heals, assuming nothing permanent happens, right? Think about 50 years of trust issues. Think about tens of thousands of dollars you gotta spend on therapy, talk therapy, psychologists, psychotherapy, over years of your life from someone who's causing this much fucking harm in you intentionally. So it's real, and it's serious, and it's sinister, and it's hard to defend against because you can't see it. Second, psychopath awareness is very low. Most of the people hear this word and they think just fictional characters. They think Hannibal Lecter, they think Dexter, they think only about violent people, basically, really violent psychopaths. But it's not like that. A psychopath is a very specific condition, and it doesn't just mean violence. That is a very specific set of expressions. And sometimes that ends up being violent, sometimes not. So what is a psychopath too? First of all, a psychopath is sane. Psychopaths are not crazy. They're not psychotic. Psychotic does not mean psychopath. Psychotic means you're having a break with reality. It means you're out of your mind. Psychopaths are legally and clinically sane by all standards. They are fully aware of what they're doing. They're not out of control. They're doing it with intent. They also have zero empathy or almost zero. They have no ability to relate with you, and they don't give a fuck. The coldest person you've ever met in your life, knowingly, is not even 1/100th as cold as a psychopath. They're cold-blooded reptiles. They do not feel. Their emotions are very, very limited. Most of their emotional range in life goes from anger to extreme boredom that never ends to jealousy and envy, because they can see in you what they don't have. They're attracted to it too. Like I talked about, you guys being targets, empathy, emotions, communication skills, relationship skills. They have none of these things. They want them, but they can't have them. They're physically incapable of having it. The origin of psychopaths is still debated, but most of it, the consensus mostly is that it's genetic, physical. There's something seriously wrong with their brains. MRI scans and other tools support this very strongly. What exactly it is not clear. There is also some debate. Some people say it's purely nature, it's purely the way they're born, it's a birth defect that happens to be very vicious and affect many, many people. Other people say it's nurture-based, developmental. I'm not of that opinion. I think that'd be more of a sociopath. And then finally, one interesting theory I've seen with psychopaths is that it's both, right? The genetics set it up, and then a bad environment pulls the trigger, like a gun. Genetics load the gun, environment pulls the trigger, and then they're permanently stuck that way. I'm going to also mention too, and I might mention it later, but psychopathy, so psychopaths it's an incurable condition. There's a 100% failure rate for talk therapy with psychopaths. No psychopath in history that's been diagnosed has ever been cured, period. These individuals think they're perfect. They do not give a fuck. Talk therapy actually makes them worse. In prison, it makes them more violent, and it makes them better at lying. Because when they talk to therapists and psychologists, they're picking up all the psych jargon. Just like when the Medusa, Marilee, was here, what was she picking up? Psych jargon, self-improvement jargon, philosophy jargon, all these words. She was able to repeat them back. All she had to do to manipulate people is listen to the speakers like you guys are, then just parrot it back at me and the speakers. Listen to the keywords, have a shallow enough understanding to just kind of mimic back out. Some more context. A lot of what you see with psychopaths, especially in the media and stuff, is like pseudopsychology. It's not real. So a lot of you might be thinking about being empathetic towards these individuals, having sympathy for them and compassion. These are just damaged individuals who had a tough childhood. This is really not the case. And whatever the case was, they're pure evil now. They're vicious, they're predators. But definitely media always wants to portray it as like tough childhood, they can be cured, they can like pick up a moral code. No, absolutely not the case. So anything you've picked up from movies and TV about psychopaths, try to put it aside for the rest of this presentation. Put a stop to the knee-jerk reactions, or you're going to miss everything. Let's go over some myth busting. So again, psychopaths, it's a myth that they're just crazy. They're not. They're fully aware of what they're doing. They have intent. Socrates picked up on this of Marilee long before I did. When he said it too, I heard him, but I didn't really understand what he meant until a few months later. So he was saying this like in March, just after she left. There was intent. And I'm thinking weeks or months. No, he was thinking years, and he was right. And again, they are legally sane legally and clinically sane. They're not insane. They're fully aware of what they're doing. Another myth, psychopaths deserve sympathy and compassion. I am not of that opinion. Anyone else who's been a victim is usually not of that opinion. For example, one of the speakers here, Ted Rice, his little brother, as far as I can tell, was kidnapped, brutally raped, murdered, and chopped into pieces by a psychopath in the 90s. You guys are going to hear about that today. Do you think he has any compassion or sympathy for that person, for that individual? No. Do you think he should? No. Absolutely not. Another myth is that, again, psychopathy is a disease that can be cured. As of yet, it cannot. Some people have hope that they can figure something out with it. As of yet, nothing works at all, even a little bit. Absolutely fucking incurable. They're fucked to the max, permanently. And a big one here we're going to get into. This one is really big. This, as far as I can tell, is one of the biggest myths currently out there with psychopaths to any extent people understand them. That this psychopath is worse than that psychopath. Once they pass 30 out of 40 or so, it's an approximate number, or a number with some approximation to it, on that Hare checklist for psychopathy, right? The gold standard. So what this means is people will see fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter or the guy who killed Ted's brother and butchered him into pieces, put him in flower pots. These are really violent psychopaths. So a lot of you guys are going to say, okay, that must be the worst kind of psychopath, right? They're violent, they're murdering people, kidnapping children, rapists, things like that. Lesser down the line, then, you're going to have like your corporate psychopath who climbs the corporate snakes in suits by Dr. Robert Hare, the guy that David Tam was talking about yesterday. Psychopaths are very good at climbing the corporate ladder, committing massive fraud, just butchering people's lives, right? Screwing everything up. So you guys will see the violent psychopaths, and you'll think that's the worst. And then a corporate psychopath, or like Medusa, Marilee, is a lesser psychopath, right? She commits her psychopathy through relationships, destroying men, like leaving a trail of destruction, or these people stealing millions of dollars. That shit's bad, right? But murdering children's a lot worse, and raping them, right? Those must be the worst. No. In my understanding of psychopaths, they're all, once they have zero empathy, they're basically all the same. Now to us, it looks a lot different, right? Because we care, because we're humans, we have empathy, we have emotions. Butchering children is a lot worse than stealing $100 million. That's a horrible crime, someone's getting fucking robbed, but clearly children being hurt and raped and butchered alive is worse. Psychopaths don't fucking care. That's why they're able to do these things. They don't care. It doesn't mean anything to them. It only means something to you because you have empathy and you're a human being and you have emotions. They don't fucking care. I merely knew about Ted's brother. You know what her response was when she found out that his brother was chopped up alive or into pieces? I don't even remember. She had a non-response to it. Didn't fucking care. Just like the guy who killed Ted's brother. Ted didn't talk to him directly, but later he was interviewed by the police or something. He couldn't even understand why Ted's family was upset. Honestly, he wasn't crazy. Didn't fucking get it. Marilee has been escorting behind my back for 4.5 years, rampantly cheating, risking my sexual health, could have killed me, HIV, Hep C, all that shit. Didn't even say sorry. Days later, I realized this. I'm like, are you gonna apologize? She just looks at me. She goes, sorry? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's because the psychopaths don't care. Kevin, the GM who worked with me for a year at the house, every weekend he would come down. He's been freaking out lately. Like, yeah, she could have killed me, man, and you. And he's right. She would chop me up into pieces, just like Ted's brother, or the guy who killed Ted Rice's brother. Not fucking care. Not bat an eye. She doesn't express her psychopathy that particular way. But if someone paid her enough money to do that, she would do it, not bat a fucking eye. They don't care. So if cats could talk, right? Predators versus prey. This is something Dr. Robert Hare talks about a little bit. Cats play with their prey before they kill it, right? If cats could talk, do you think they would criticize each other based on how they played with their prey before they ate it and killed it? No, they wouldn't give a fuck, because it's a mouse. If you guys step on an ant or a bug on the way out, you don't cry and have like this big deal about it. You don't care. Cats eating their prey, playing with it, torturing it, the cats aren't going to fucking get together and have like a big discussion about the best way to play with it and what's the most humane way to kill the fucking mouse. They don't give a fuck. You are weak to them and you are pathetic because you have emotions and empathy. They don't care. That's why they can chop you up into pieces and they don't even understand why people get upset about this. Honestly. And they're not crazy. They're fully aware of it while they're doing it. Or Medusa torturing men throughout her life, abusing them, setting them up, discarding them. Doesn't matter. Or stealing tens of millions of dollars or something like that. They don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter who they destroy because they don't care. They can't. And yeah, at the end of the day, you end up like the rabbit. They don't fucking care. How you get there is not important to them. One of the things I've been thinking about lately is whether or not psychopaths are actually humans. Clearly they're Homo sapiens, right? They're genetic Homo sapiens, however fucked up they are. But are they human? Which to me is something different, something specific. In my view, I don't believe they are. Humans have rational thinking, and this is just a basic checklist, right, of what it is to be a human being. It's not even exhaustive. But human beings are able to think rationally, you're able to reason in multiple layers, go through a chain of reasoning to arrive at a conclusion. You have empathy, and you have free will. This convention, this company, is a massive expression of that. You guys being here is an expression of that. You are trying to learn and improve your life and put your will into it and then change, right? You're doing that with free will. You're making a fucking choice. You have choices in front of you. You have knowledge being presented to you. You make a choice. I don't believe psychopaths can engage in rationality. They're good at pretending it, but they can't actually do it because their main operating mode cognitively is lying. One of the things psychologists say about psychopaths is that if the lips are moving, they're lying. I think even if the lips aren't moving, they're lying. The body language is lying. The microexpressions are lying. They're acting. They're always lying. They lie every day of their whole life. Something Marilee said too that is really, which also strongly suggested psychopathy, not something else. When she told me about the prostitution, she said a few minutes later, I feel like I've been acting for 34 years of my entire life until right now. Of course she was still acting, still lying, right? What she's suggesting strongly is that she has always been acting, always felt this way, hiding, pretending, trying to fit in, because she knew she didn't fit in. Literally as long as she could remember, probably not 34 years, probably 32 or whatever, however many years when her first memory was. Psychopath, genetic, born that way. So no rationality. They're lying all the time. Lying is not rational thinking. Lying is a distortion of reality. You're destroying reality. You're setting up fake realities. It's not rational. They're not engaging in it, and that's their primary thinking mode or operating mode. Their thinking is also one-dimensional. This is something Kevin, our GM, has pointed out. He's here in the room today in the back, multiple times with Marilee. She expressed this with her business, some of the conversations me and Kevin had with her, the way she ran it, and working out. She couldn't think ahead more than like a few weeks, basically, unless it was about lying. They can lie into the future indefinitely. They're really good at it. But any kind of thinking that needs to go a couple layers deep, they can't do. So basically, they can't reason. They can pretend, have the conversations with you, but it's not really going on. They're pretending. So they're pretending to follow chains of reasoning. They have zero empathy. I think that is a condition of being a human being. You have some ability to relate to other human beings. They don't have it at all. And finally, I don't believe they have any free will to significantly speak of. And one of the ways we can look at this is in reverse. One of the biggest effects of free will is change. Again, that's what you guys are doing. You have free will, you're exercising it, and you're here, and as a result, you can change. You can change your health, your relationships, your social skills, your relationship skills, your philosophy, your self-defense skills, all these things. You can change, but only with free will. Psychopaths are well known to be incapable of change. They can't learn through experience, except to lie and manipulate better. Other than that, they can't change at all. I realized before I even discovered the psychopathy checklist that Marilee was the same woman I met in 2011, 4.5 years earlier. She didn't change at all. She went to this conference 4 fucking times. Massive, massive epicenter, very tightly and intense too, right? Of personal change. Didn't change even a little bit. Nothing. Not a damn thing. How the fuck is that even possible, right? You guys are having an awesome weekend here, just one day. She went to 4 of these conventions, the biggest and best ones we had ever done. Didn't change even a little. She was surrounded by this shit. And me and the speakers. Didn't change at all. Imagine getting basically free coaching from these guys for the past 4.5 years, and then you're the exact same fucking person. Exactly. This is notorious of psychopaths. They're good at hiding, and they can't change. Something she also had conversations about with me, and I think Socrates too. When the cheating came out, I said, you have to change everything about who you are. And one of the things she would repeat on a broken record is, change what? How do you change? What do you change? She's actually texting Socrates for advice, getting it back and being like, I don't get it. What do you change? I'm like, you change everything. You're a complete immoral person. You have to change who you are as a human being. Didn't make sense to her. Didn't get it. Psychopath. They can't change. They're stuck that way forever. It's incurable. And that, again, I think is the biggest expression of free will, and that's why, again, I don't believe they're fully human. They're not even close. By the way, again, like I said, talk therapy is 100% failure rate, which is beyond bizarre. I don't know if there's any other disorders in the face of the earth that you can't at least treat somewhat with talk therapy. They can't do it. They're just completely unresponsive to it. It makes them worse a lot of the times. So in a very funny sense, I think that they are really advanced humanoid evil parrots. They just parrot things, they mimic, they mirror, they look human, they pretend, they're good at it, but they're not human. If anything, they're anti-human or anti-humans. So your next question might be, how the fuck did this happen, right? How did I get in this relationship and stay in it for so long? Or look at me. I run the fucking convention. There's been 100 speakers at this convention over the past 10 years. She met 50 of these people, interviewed them, talking with them, knowing them for years and years and years, extensively, right? Not in every case, but in some cases. And are these people dummies? Hell no. These people are fucking awesome, these speakers. Highly fucking educated, highly intelligent, highly experienced. They have centuries of combined relationship and dating experience. Centuries. over half a dozen PhDs, medical doctors, an astrophysicist, an architect. I mean, I've surrounded myself and her. I surrounded myself and her with a small army of dating coaches these past 4.5 years. And that's something you guys need to think about. Because the only defense you have against this is A, yourself, whatever you can know about this, and then B, your friends and family. Of course, I had that too, right? And that's what you have. But on top of that, I had all that. No fucking problem getting right through it. That's how dangerous they are, and that's how good they are at hiding. So let's dig more into this. This is a sexual marketplace 2014 and of 2016 that Socrates was talking to you guys about yesterday. So we're going to get into now how that happened, right? You have your social selection scale, basically your human scale as I call it, on the vertical axis. On the horizontal axis, you have your natural selection, or Homo sapiens scale as I call it. Socrates talked to you guys about this yesterday. Civilizing skills being more human, and then horizontally, you just get more attractive, more healthy, more better seductive skills, things like that. And then you're somewhere in that quadrant, right, in the marketplace. You have to pinpoint. Socrates talked about putting yourself in it, finding out where you're at, and then improving from where you're at. That's what he believed the marketplace was. About a month ago, I realized this is not the sexual marketplace. It's pretty close, but it's about half of it. This is the real sexual marketplace. We have the quadrant, of course, that Socrates talks about. Scale is 0 to 10 or 0 to 100, however you want to do it, on the vertical, and then to the right. And then, of course, you have the human ideal up here, where you're maxing out both to the best of your ability. Then you got your friend zone over there. Then you got toxic people down here, right? But this is the real sexual marketplace. What I realized is, and what Socrates didn't see in the other speakers, is that it doesn't go from 0 to 10 or 0 to 100. It goes from negative 10 to 10, or negative 100 to positive 100. True monsters and vampires and predators don't belong in the human quadrant up here. They belong in this half down here. I have a shark there. You know. It's on the front of the Psychopath book. They're predators. I thought it fit pretty well. But seriously, true predators, and so in his presentation, Socrates talks about in his keynote address that sociopaths and psychopaths exist right here, right? They're doing well on the Homo sapiens scale. They're getting hot, they're getting healthy, they're aggressive, all that, or seductive. But these to me are lesser vampires, is what really belongs there. He thought sociopaths and psychopaths belonged there, meaning they lacked the human skills, but they were still hot, so they belonged here. No. True predators are not just lacking these skills, right? Relationship skills, emotional skills, and all that, social skills. No. True predators have not only lacked them, so they're at 0, they have actively developed and practiced anti-human skills, anti-life, anti-civilization, things that are pure fucking evil. They're destructive, they're harmful. So not just lacking them and being a dumbass. And so specifically, the lesser vampires are your party girls, your douchebags, your assholes, drama queens, attention whores, shit like that, which is bad enough. You got to watch out for that in life, right? But those are the baby vampires. Down here, you have your gorgons, your monsters, your predators, your vampires, your succubuses. That's where they live. Pure fucking evil. They're in the negative. The scale, by the way, Socrates suggested it does probably go to the left too. So there might be a whole area over here. I think he's right, but I don't know if it's a sexual marketplace anymore then. If you're getting into the negative physically, those would be like people who weigh like 800 pounds. So it's like, does that even, I don't think it counts on the sexual marketplace, but it's debatable. But definitely this negative part here exists, and it's fucking dangerous. And specifically too, I want to comment on this, that speakers of this convention are telling you guys about this, right? It's dangerous. Socrates, David Tien, all these guys. It's really hard to understand that, how dangerous these individuals are and how damaging they are. But this is where they live and that's where they reside, and I'm really trying to drive that home for you guys and make it personal and make it real. And so this is how, a big part of how this happened. Greg Swan, one of our alumni speakers, the guy who married Marilee and I, he said to me when this all blew up, you can't see what you're not looking for. And that is how Socrates, the guy best equipped in the room, on the lookout for it the most, enemy number 1 for Marilee, couldn't see it. He didn't realize the marketplace went into the negative. He thought it went from 0 to 10. You can't see what you're not looking for. You can't see what's outside of your field of vision. Couldn't see it. The reality is no one short of a forensic or criminal psychologist would have been able to spot it at this convention. Even then, like Dr. Robert Hare, he talks about, he still gets faked out. Dr. Robert Hare, PhD, is the foremost expert on the face of the planet for psychopaths. He routinely still gets faked out by them, doesn't spot them. That's how fucking good they are. The guy who's the best still gets faked out. So don't ever look at the speakers and be like, oh, they should have spotted it. No, like, they didn't have a fucking chance. Even the best guys, the best of the best of the best. Guys who've been through this stuff. It's tough. It's incredibly tough because they're incredibly good at hiding it. Let's take a moment and talk about feminism. I hear it's an interesting topic at this convention that we talk about sometimes. So feminism, I think, relates somewhat closely to female psychopathy. One of the ways we see this is when I dumped a bunch of cheating evidence for a couple of different reasons onto a blog, sent it to our wedding group. Her family didn't appreciate this, right? But it's very interesting how they responded. Very interesting. The women in particular responded in a very specific way. So again, I dumped all the cheating evidence I had. Financial records, pictures, emails she wrote, we're gonna go through one, all kinds of fucked up shit. Plus she confessed it, right? I just dumped this into a blog post and sent it to the entire wedding group. In particular too, because I felt my family and friends were defrauded. I went in, full force, genuine as hell, exactly what I wanted to do, did it, 100% honest. She, of course, got thousands of dollars in gifts we did together from my friends and family who would have never otherwise sent it had they known that she was, escorting behind my back, rampantly cheating. They sent those gifts and that money and spent that time and effort to come to the wedding because they believed that she was the woman she presented herself to be, just like I was as a man. So they were defrauded. That was another big reason to dump this stuff. So her sister-in-law says, Anthony, it is extremely inappropriate for you to publish this very private account of your separation with Marilee. I'm sure you are hurt, but you have no business posting this message and you should really take it down. I respond, I'd love to know what's inappropriate about revealing the truth. And thanks in advance for informing Marilee how deeply inappropriate, irrational, unethical, immoral, and dangerous her choices for 4.5 years have been with me, and 16 plus years before me. She responds, it's inappropriate because it's private. What's private? Blah, 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 blah. And then this is her sister too, her half-sister Rhiannon. I agree with Carrie, please take this down. So think about this. Specifically, with feminism, think about how this would be in reverse. If I had cheated and lied to her for 4.5 years, what do you think they'd be saying? Fucking men, can't fucking trust them, they're all cheating bastards, take them all down, fuck them. They would just be fucking livid. With Marilee, oh, you poor baby. Oh, you're a victim of your own cheating. Oh, Anthony, what an asshole, him posting the truth. Of course, my question is, what's inappropriate about revealing the truth? And there's nothing. In fact, I believe one of the hallmarks of morality and justice is always pursuing the truth and always being open about it. These people, no. What an asshole, take it down. And yeah, again, if it was in reverse. So this is the feminist double standard, right? Women cheat, oh, you poor baby. Men cheat, fucking asshole. So it's just ridiculous, the double standard, the hypocrisy with this. And of course, like I'm mentioning here, absolutely no one in her family said, yo, Marilee, you just really fucked up the best thing you had in your life. What you did was evil, irrational, immoral. You damaged this person, you hurt Anthony. He didn't do anything to deserve this, earn it, or ask for it. You just went and did it. No agency, no responsibility, which is psychopathy for her, but in her family, it's just feminism rearing its ugly head, right? No one telling her, hey, you just fucked up. We need to sit down and talk about this as your family. Nope, fuck that. You go, girl, power to you. Get what you need, baby. So let's get more personal, right? We're not even there yet. This is an email she wrote, 2015. Kevin was down for all these days at my house. We were working, right? Thursday, this August 7th or something. Watched the video, blah, 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 had amazing sex. She's writing this to herself, by the way. And she was not with me on Thursday. This is some other guy. Name's Chris, actually. Friday morning, amazing blowjob. She goes through the whole weekend now. Breakfast, beach, jet skis, dinner, melting pot. Friday night again, outstanding blowjob. Saturday, she's telling herself this, by the way. The guy didn't say this stuff. She's just like, this is narcissism rearing its head. Saturday morning, amazing blowjob with satisfied laughter. Breakfast at hotel, trampoline jumping, gator farm, tiger, another alligator, cheesecake factory, on and on and on. My personal favorite, Saturday night, we watched episodes of Lie to Me, learn how to lie, right? But my favorite one from this email is, seriously thought about becoming a dating coach. Just imagine that. Jesus, right? Oh, I had really amazing sex again. Sunday morning, had fantastic sex again. You know, all this Cheesecake Factory, ice skating, cuddling, all this other stuff. Taxes 2008, right? The fucking subject line. So let's get into the text messages I'm getting during that weekend, right? All that shit's going on. Me and Kevin are at the house. We're busting ass on 21 University, working on the company, right? For days. Blah, 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 blah. Saturday, August 8th. So Saturday during all that. Hey, can you send me login info for 21 University? I never got it. I wanted to see Sock and Brent's speeches. Brent Smith. She's talking about Socrates' keynote address, too. That was about us, by the way, in huge part, right? We were the human ideal, getting married, working out as hard as we fucking could. Saturday again, August 8th. Watching Sock's speech again. And then, of course, then we have this. Love you so much, can't wait to see you again, naked. I send some smileys. She sends me the fuck, what is it, like this thing, like we're gonna fuck. She's fucking this guy the whole time, right? Texting me this shit. So, you know, Kevin's down with me, we're working. So think about this, though. She's texting me that during all this going on. And guess what happens? She fucks him Sunday morning, gets back Sunday night. She fucked this guy Rob, by the way. I talked to him because he really wanted to talk to me. I was like, dude, I don't really want to talk to you. Like, you're one guy of like 20, like you don't matter, but he really wanted to talk. He said not only did they not use a condom, he's like, dude, we never even talked about it. Never even came up in conversation. Which, of course, right? Psychopaths don't care. They don't give a fuck. Anyway, they fuck Sunday morning, raw. She comes home. Of course, like she's saying, we fuck. Kevin just left a few hours earlier. She gets back, we fuck, sloppy seconds. She then writes this email in front of me. I watched her fingers type it in the bed. Think about this for a second. Cheating is common, right? You guys have probably learned that at this point throughout the convention, talking to speakers. Cheating happens, it's common. Like this is not common. Writing about it in the bed after giving your husband sloppy seconds, really not common. This is borderline, this is riding, thrill-seeking, this is riding the fucking edge. I watched her fingers type it. She's telling me about it, minus the sex stuff, right? All I do is look at the screen. But, you know, we just had sex, I'm like, all right, whatever, I'm not gonna read your fucking emails. Wrote it right in front of me. Let that sink in for a minute. Let that shit, after sloppy seconds, right? I'm a germ freak as it is. I'm fucking paranoid about this shit anyway. Just think about it, how fucking gross that is, how fucked up that is. This she wrote in, so her latest adultery partner, the last one as far as I know, maybe, who knows, right? She sent this on like November 20th, the day after she fucked the latest guy, a new guy, like another guy, right? She's on a beach in fucking the Galapagos Islands, puts this in the sand, sends me a picture of it. This is a woman who's been cheating for almost 4.5 years at this point, and an escort. Putting this in the fucking sand in the Galapagos Islands, sending me pictures of it. Not crazy, but conventionally, Sasha would say cray-cray. Pretty cray-cray. Oh yeah, by the way, she tried to rob Sasha a few weeks ago, so that's interesting. He went down to the house, he had an RV there, him and his wife went down. I'm like, dude, y'all need to lock your door if you're gonna stay the night there. You shouldn't go there. He did anyway, and she tried to rob him, and then he caught her red-handed. And she's like, well, I had to try. Sasha's like, what the fuck? Like, the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, right? So let's talk about spotting crazy. A lot of people, like I did, think they can spot crazy, especially if you've been going out for a while, meeting a lot of women, having a lot of sex, having success, right? So this is for some of the speakers who are not as familiar with psychopathy yet, and anyone else who thinks they can spot crazy. The crazy you can see is not the crazy you have to worry about. That shit is manageable, you can deal with it, you can avoid it. Psychopaths were basically born in the dark, and they're calibrated. So you'll probably look at my relationship with Marilee, possibly, right, if you're good with this stuff. And you'll say, oh, she must have thrown off red flags, these ones, this one, and that one. I would have seen that, spotted it, ended the relationship, right? You're missing the point. Psychopaths are expert con artists and manipulators. They're masters of it. at mirroring you, idealizing you, literally creating a soulmate for you in a manufactured artificial sense, right? Whatever my relationship was with her would be different from the one you have with her. She would mirror your personality or yours, and create a soulmate for you that reflected you, everything in you, right? You'd probably buy it. The red flags would be different. And if you were better at spotting crazy than I was, she would just modify her behavior and calibrate it to not get caught in the same way, right? To the best of her ability, which is pretty good. So whatever the red flags were in my relationship that I missed, and there were plenty, right? They would be different, and the scenario and the context would be different in your relationship with her or another psychopath. So think about that for a minute, okay? To see a psychopath, to spot them, you have to learn how to see in the dark. You need to get educated, and you need to build yourself psychological night vision goggles. These creatures do not thrive in the daylight. They're in the dark. You have to catch the faintest fucking glimmer to spot them. Again, she faked out 50 speakers of the 21 convention, including guys like Socrates, all these fucking people. People fucking looking for it, consistently, constantly keeping an eye out for it. Right by. And that's why you guys have to get educated to the best of your ability to avoid one or being in a relationship with one. My strategy with crazy, and it worked pretty well, was to repel them. Mike McNally, I went on his podcast unintentionally a few weeks ago. Don't even ask, it's funny. And one of the things I said about myself was he was asking me a few things, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm like the ultimate antagonizer. And this is how I kept crazy away. I repelled them. I'm abrasive with crazy, with party girls. Party girls do not like me. As much as they might like me physically and vice versa, they don't want to be around me. It's stressful for them. I don't want to be around them. It's a mutual feeling, right? So I kept the vampires at bay, the baby ones, and it worked. We're gonna watch a video in a minute about this, right, with Marilee. But I did a great job of avoiding crazy girls, the lesser vampires, the drama, right? Keep them all at bay, fuck off, get away from me. Did a good job. But the ones you don't repel, the really, really hardcore predators, you will attract. That's what I did, and I believe that's what David Tien did too. So the ones who get through your filter are the worst fucking ones if you're repelling it like I did. You're repelling liars, you're repelling crazy, you're repelling the drama queens, the daddy issues, the mommy issues, all that fucking bullshit. The ones who get through that net are really fucked up, and it sucks. So spotting crazy like you think you can actually work against you. Because you're gonna have red flags you're looking for, and you're not gonna see them. Your confidence is gonna build in the conclusion that this person is not crazy. So the better you can spot stuff that you can see in the daylight, the more you're just fooling yourself that this person's not a psychopath, if they are indeed a psychopath or sociopath. So spotting crazy, your standard level of crazy, it's valuable and important, but for psychopaths and these creatures that lurk in the dark, not that helpful. It can work against you. So part of the subtitle of this talk is How to Survive a Psychopath, right? So even though it's not a standard breakup, it's fundamentally different and worse. It's ultra fucked up, obviously. There's a lot of pain and trauma they try to cause that we're not even talking about yet. But regardless, with any breakup, from a moderate one to a bad one to one with a psychopath, there's going to be some standard advice you can do, right? That's great and very helpful to surviving the experience. So stop the bleeding is what I call it. It's actually what the ARCS inventor of the ARCS machine told me through email when I told him all this. It's great advice. So stop the bleeding with the wound, right, that they caused. First thing you gotta do is ghost. I call it G-Day, ghost day, right? Like D-Day. You should ghost out with them as much as you can, as fast as you can. I didn't do that in some significant ways for specific purposes that I can't disclose to you guys yet, maybe in Miami. But emotionally, I did ghost out. I did it really well. And not only did I do it well, I think, but I can tell you the experience of it emotionally. So when I found out about all the cheating, she immediately started dying to me emotionally. Romantic love to me is conditional, not unconditional. I always told her I love you based on who you are and who you present yourself to be. If you're ever anything else, I'm not in love with you, that thing, that creature, right, or that person. So when the cheating came out, clearly this is not the person I fell in love with. The emotion started fading. She was like, oh, they must still be lingering. And I was like, yeah, for a few more days or a few more weeks, and then they'll be gone. This really fucked with her head. It's awesome. Because I firmly believe that. So I was ghosting out emotionally right away when the cheating came out. When I found out about all the prostitution at Socrates' house, The best way I can describe the emotional experience of learning about her being a hooker for the past 4.5 years was like the cheating was like her walking up to a French guillotine, walking up to it, right, laying her head down. The prostitution of 4.5 years during our relationship, blade coming down. You're dead to me. I realized when I found that out, I was like, I don't even know who the fuck this person is at all. I actually know her a lot better than I think now, or that I did then. But in terms of where I was at then, that was the experience emotionally. It's a fucking guillotine coming down. Dead. Emotionally. Next, stop the bleeding, break up any kind of severity, right? Maintain daily habits. I got this from Socrates. Shave as much as you can if you shave. I got into wet shaving with a safety razor a little while ago. Really cool to keep that up. I tried to keep reading to the best I could, books and stuff, all kinds of books. I'm always reading books, playing games, stuff like that. Simple shit, right? You shave, you have habits like reading and playing games, you keep doing it. It's hard, right? You're going through a really traumatic experience, especially with a psychopath. But you keep up the daily habits, try to keep a level of normalcy in your life. It's very valuable. Third, surround yourself with a support network as best you can, which would probably be your friends and family. I unintentionally, by building this company, built up a really strong support network. I did not mean to do that, and part of what psychopaths do is they build you up, and so the higher you rise, the harder you fall. She had me rise really high emotionally, and then she tried to get me to fall, throw me out a 10-story window. But I built this huge pillow right like the 9th floor. Hit the pillow instead of the ground. So whatever support network you have, reach out to them. Family, friends, in my case, family, friends, and then speakers too. Business partners, basically. So surround yourself with them. Fourth, spend lots of time with male friends specifically. After a bad breakup of any kind, you do not trust the opposite sex. You trust your female friends, female family, but outside of that, you're like, fuck all women, get the fuck away from me. All of you are whores, get away. I don't trust any of you. So that's only like a few weeks, right? If you're healing quickly and well. So spend time with male friends. It's going to help you just heal emotionally and empathize with these men because they're going to have similar experiences too they can share with you. Like Dean, he had a sociopathic ex-wife. We were really relating on that. Also, one of the ones I found unintentionally from Greg Swan's advice about something else, spend time with non-relationship past lovers you have. Old fuck buddies, old girls, friends with benefits, stuff like that you haven't seen in a while, do that. The experience is electrifying and therapeutic because if you spent a lot of time with them, in my case, this one girl for a few years, we had been hooking up, you have some significant confidence that they're not out to fucking harm you and hurt you, but they're attracted to you, which is different from female friends and female family. So this experience was like, there's still hope. They're not all fucked. Some of them are like, okay. So this was really therapeutic to be around and really, really great experience. Whether or not you have sex with them is irrelevant. It's the emotional experience. Meet them, hang out with them, spend time with them. Also, get in the best shape of your life. I've done that actually recently. I put on a few pounds of muscle in the past few months. Great. Dial in your exercise, dial in your diet, focus on intense physical exercise. Something David Tan mentioned to me through Facebook when I talked to him about this. And physical exertion specifically, like I do with high intensity training, like Drew Bay is going to talk to you guys about today, it focuses you when you do it slow and intensely, and it's therapeutic. It's a stress reliever, and it's going to make you healthier and stronger. Very good. How much time do we have? 21, okay. So I'm going to just try to speed this up. Yeah, we're doing all right. So this is a quick slide I'm going to have to get through real quick, but we'll see what we can do. When I was 15, my dad was very violent, my father, right? Abusive alcoholic, did some drugs and stuff, steroids, all kinds of shit. Every once in a while, he'd hit me, right? Hard, like punch. When I was 15, one time, he was punching me in the face, knocking me to the ground every time. My mother was there screaming, trying to get him to stop. He'd hit me. Bam, I'd go to the ground. And my response was, I didn't say anything, got back up. Hit me again, stay down, got back up. Did this 6 times. My dad is 6'2", almost 6'2", 240, big dude. I was 15 at the time. This fucking hurt. My only thought was, and this is probably a psychopathic tendency in me, by the way, although I don't believe I'm a psychopath, thankfully. My only response was, what am I going to do, stay down? No, that's the last thing I'm going to do. I'm going to get up. for whatever fucking reason, this is not the best advice, by the way, I don't recommend doing this, it's dangerous, kept knocking me down, kept hitting me, kept getting up. After the 6th time, he freaked out, got scared, walked away. That was the last time he hit me. I call this out-psychoing a psychopath. My father's probably not a psychopath, he's just a really damaged individual. But this is how you out-crazy a crazy person, right? You show a level of mental strength that outmatches them, and it freaks them out, it scares them. I did the same thing with Marilee, more psychologically and unintentionally than that, where it was very physical and very specific. One of the examples that I'd love to give that's really great is Kevin was down. I picked up Kevin in Tampa, brought him back down to the house to work for the weekend. We got back really late, like an hour late. Marilee flipped her shit. And for the first time ever, she's like, I've never done this before. She's like, I'm locking the door for the master bedroom. You're going to sleep on the couch. Blah, 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 blah. Screaming, yelling. Kevin's there, like, what the fuck's going on? And I'm thinking, like, this is really over the top, right? We were late, but I'm like, this is weird. And I'm like, okay, look, I'm really sorry about being late. Shouldn't have done that. I apologize, seriously. But that's my bedroom. We share it. I'm going to sleep there tonight. No, she locks the fucking door. I'll light the bed on fire before I let you in or sleep with me tonight. Fire, psychopath. So I go, okay, this is my home, just like yours. That's my bedroom. That's my bed. I'm going to sleep there tonight no matter what. So you can either unlock the door or I'm going to take it off the hinges. Take a pick. She goes quiet, starts screaming again. I'm like, all right, Kevin, I need you to hang out for a minute. This is going to get really awkward for like 5 minutes. I'm going to take the door off the hinges and it's going to be all right. But I need you to watch to make sure nothing crazy happens, like shouldn't hit me or anything. He's like, yeah, okay. It's like, this is Anthony fucking Johnson, holy fuck. So what I did with my father, what I'm doing here with Marilee is I'm leaning into it, right? This is a dominance play. Psychopaths, like Steve mentioned with Marilee, they're control freaks. Control freak, control freak, control freak. Dominance, 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 power, power, power. They're always trying to gain control and power over you. So my response is just overwhelming force, right? All right, you're gonna lock the door, then I'm gonna take it off the hinges. Then there won't be a door, and then I'm gonna sleep there and you can do whatever the hell you want. She never told me where to sleep. In the end, I didn't do it. I went to get the screwdriver, about to take it off, and I realized, all right, there's absolutely no way me and Kevin are gonna get work done this weekend at the house. So I called a taxi, got a hotel, got the fuck out. But I was in the process of doing this, and I would have done it. And anyone who knows me knows damn well I would have done this. This is how you out-psycho a psychopath. You just overwhelmingly respond like this, right? In a non-violent way. And it really fucks with them, because they really love control and power. And you're just, bam, right there. There's another one too, but we're gonna skip over it. Well, no, we'll fucking go into this. This is a really good one too. This is the second one, and then we'll go, there's nothing else to say here, this one. So a few months into the marriage, right, and you've probably heard this before, she sits down and says, hey, you know what, I don't want to have that much sex anymore, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what the fuck? We've been fucking every day for like 3 years at this point, almost every day. So I'm like, this is weird. She goes into it, talks about all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, all right. So I love you. We got married a few months ago. I love having sex with you. And I did not agree to the terms you're presenting. You're just kind of forcing them at me, throwing them at me. So we're not going to do that. So we're going to keep maintaining our sexual relationship like we built it to this point. And I love you. But if you don't agree with this, then you have 36 hours to surrender and change your mind, or you're going to find yourself without a husband. If you think I'm bluffing, try me. She starts crying even more, flipping out, freaking out. I can't believe you threatened to end the marriage over this. I'm like, I can't believe you would unilaterally negotiate with me and just force new terms on me without even consulting me or getting my input. So my response, it's funny, right, looking back on it, decent. Not the best, though. Should have just ended the marriage immediately. Weaponizing sex like this is really fucked up, really disrespectful. Turning sex into a weapon, emotional manipulation, and control. Huge red flag, end the marriage immediately, end the relationship. It also showed a level of intent. She didn't just all of a sudden think up 4 months in this. This was planned, right? Women do this anyway, but psychopaths do it with long-range intent. Unilateral negotiation. Hey, we're going to do something new, and you're going to do it, or you're fucked. Whoa. By backing off and saying you have 36 hours to change your mind, I was maintaining the relationship we had established at that point, the terms we set. I said, no, you're not going to change them. And if you try to change them and force them on me, we're going to end the relationship immediately. and she knew I was serious. So it's an extreme sign of disrespect, unilateral negotiation. Socrates talks a lot about this on his blog. So it's another example of leaning into it, right? She's trying to gain control, trying to take the steering wheel of the relationship, trying to dominate me, and I just go, nope, hell no. Take the door off the hinges. You have 36 hours, change your mind, or we're done. This is a sort of successful way, at least it's funny in hindsight, to deal with the psychopath. Ultimately, should have just ended the relationship, but yeah. Lean into it. This is something, too, that I mentioned because Socrates brought this up a few weeks ago. When she was trying to, specifically at the end, harm me in the grand finale and really fuck things up, I leaned into everything. Everything she threw at me frustrated her and angered her even more. Socrates picked this up a lot sooner than I did. I just lean into it. Whether it's with my father, with her locking me out of the bedroom, or with sex stuff. Lean into it, lean into it, lean into it, lean into it. This is useful in life. So here, it's not the best. With my father, it's dangerous. As a kid doing that, could have gotten my fucking teeth knocked out. Still have a chip in the back of my tooth from it. With her, psychopath, she could have chopped my dick off in the middle of the night. So this is dangerous, seriously. She could have killed me. But I demonstrated because leaning into reality like this and confronting it is useful when it's not with psychopath. Take that home, take that to heart. Okay. So where I went right in the relationship. This is something I talked about with a medical doctor who is a huge fan of this convention. My philosophy that guides my life is called objectivism. It's created by Ayn Rand. Big believer in it, big supporter, right? I study it consistently, and I practice it in my life really, really well. We have speakers from the Institute in her name come to the convention consistently and all that. In my view, by engaging in philosophy so well and so consistently and following it so tightly, it acted as a guardian of my psychology and of my mind over these years. So it kept a lot of the damage that psychopaths dish out at bay. A lot of it couldn't get through. It would just bounce back. And it would frustrate her and piss her off. Because other guys, this is going to work on. It's going to hurt them even more. Like the people that this book is written for specifically. Because they don't study philosophy. So everything gets through. All the damage. With me, anywhere between half to 80% of it is probably blocked out by this. She would try to manipulate and distort. I would stop it. No, that's not true. We're not going to do that, whatever the case was. So philosophy is a guardian of your mind and your mental health, in my view. It also helps you untangle contradictions that they try to set up, the manipulation, the love bombing, all these things. And so basically, philosophy with self-improvement, it was kind of self-administered CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. So she would try to manipulate, distort, and harm me with long-range intent. Philosophy would be helping me undo these things over time, along with self-improvement, improving my life. So the damage would get blocked out, and then most of it would get blocked out or kind of untangled to not create a lot of long-term harm. And one of the ways this looks is I keep getting the very consistent comment from Socrates and other speakers and other friends that I'm handling what happened really, really well. And I believe so too, that I'm an outlier. Most people in this book's written for and that it was written by in a lot of ways, they get massive fucking damage for months of their life, decades even. I've done, I think, pretty well with it because of philosophy, because of the way I handled myself during the relationship. Self-esteem as well. One of the quotes I love from Dr. Nathaniel Brennan, one of my heroes, is that self-esteem is the immune system of the mind, which in my view is different from a guardian. Philosophy protects, self-esteem heals. So whatever was getting through was also kind of repairing itself and healing because I actively maintain and nurture higher self-esteem through my accomplishments and taking pride in my achievements and pursuing my happiness. So philosophy is the guardian, self-esteem is the healer and the repairer, the immune system. Very useful when someone's trying to harm you over many years of your life. I also avoided legal marriage entirely in terms of where it went right. We never got a marriage contract, marriage license. I was philosophically, politically opposed to it. She was probably for it because she knew we were going to get divorced anyway. Then there would be thousands of dollars in attorney fees and stuff. So she went along with my philosophic things with it, but I think it was all bullshit as far as I can tell. But for me, I don't believe the government has any role in marriage at all. The gay marriage stuff, all this shit, I'm like, just get the government out. Which is supported by a lot of politicians today. Not a lot, but a number of them that are famous, like Senator Rand Paul, I think Ted Cruz, and a few others. They're like, look, get the government out of marriage, end marriage licenses, let people establish contracts, right? And have what's called a private marriage. I did that and I stuck to it. And that saved my ass in a lot of ways, because if we had a marriage license, I'd probably still be married to her right now, going through a divorce, which, fuck that. I would say if you do want to get married someday, get what's called a private marriage. Google it, look on Wikipedia, look it up. You have a ceremony. We had our whole family and friends come out. We live streamed the wedding. We went to a week-long honeymoon in Hawaii. We had rings. She took my last name. She has my last name, Mary Ellis Johnson. So we did everything that a married couple would do except the least important thing, which is get a marriage license. Avoid them like the plague. Stay away. And I practiced moral perfection. She recognized this, as did a number of the speakers. I never once hit her, cheated on her, not even once, not even close, or lied to her. Not even a white lie, except to surprise her with a birthday present or something. Other than that, not a single fucking lie. Like a psychopath then, I have no shame, no guilt, no remorse. But I have none because I didn't earn any. She doesn't have any because she doesn't fucking have the ability to have any. But I'm proud to have practiced moral perfection and practiced my philosophy to a T during the relationship super, super well. Where I went wrong depended solely on my own judgment for marriage. I did spend 4 months sitting on the choice, so I made it, committed to it, and then I said, all right, let me just sit on this for 4 months, think about it, chew through it, develop it, right? Look back on it. That's not enough, though. Getting married is too long range of a decision to make on your own. I don't give a fuck who you are. Make sure you consult your closest friends and your business partners or whatever you have in your life, your family, as best as you can, and take their advice and their consults or their discussions seriously. When you're banging a girl, you are emotionally compromised. When you love a girl especially, emotionally compromised. Putting your dick in her, you are not objective. I don't care how good you are in terms of understanding philosophy, of being rational, of being moral, doesn't matter. Consult people who are objective, who are not putting their dick in the person you want to marry, spend your life with. Consult other people. I was overconfident in my understanding of crazy. We went over that. I think a lot of people think they can spot crazy. They can't. The shit that matters. What they're spotting is like the lesser vampires, which, you don't want these people in your life, but they're not people who are going to try to destroy you. Big difference. I also projected deep self-trust onto her, my own trust that I had for myself that was really, really strong and rightfully so, but I put that onto her where she didn't deserve it. That was a big mistake. But interestingly, I think it had a benefit. My trust was so deep, she had a lot of difficulty building cognitive dissonance in me. She couldn't do it because I trusted myself so fucking much. And that's one of the main tools psychopaths use to fuck with you and kind of hurt you. So, mistake, but it had a benefit. I think one of the ultimate defense systems is something she actually mentioned to me at the end as part of the excessive flattery, and it's to develop an anti-fragile personality, meaning you become stronger with damage. So the more she tried to hurt me, the stronger I became. The more I leaned into it, the more she tried to hurt me, the stronger I became, the better I became. This is useful for life. It's what I do with this business. This company has had many problems in the past with money and stuff, and it's put me through hell. On top of that, friends dying, things like that, right? This is damage, this is traumatic. To me, it makes me stronger. It doesn't mean I repress it. It doesn't mean I don't feel anything. It means that the more damage that comes in that I'm not looking for, don't go looking for it. You're going to get plenty on your own, right? Just naturally throughout life. But every time you get hurt, you take the position of, all right, I'm going to get stronger with this. Like the old saying goes, if it doesn't kill me, it makes me stronger. Yes, take that and apply it to your life. Study Anti-Fragile, Things That Gain from Disorder with Nathan Taleb, written by the author. Raise your self-esteem. Always be raising it, always be working on it, always be thinking about it and improving it, taking pride in what you do, pursuing your happiness, pursuing real accomplishments in real life that are going to give you evidence of like, hey, I did something great with my life. I can take pride in it. I can be happy with it. And again, do not seek out damage of this kind. It's going to occur plenty on its own. You guys are young. Shit's going to be in your future. It's going to happen in your life. Don't seek it out. Get stronger with damage as it comes to you naturally. I want to show you a quick demo of the excessive flattery. This is her wedding vows from the wedding in 2014. Can we turn the volume up? Turn the volume up.
Anthony is the most amazing person I know. He has this wonderful way of taking the best from everyone he meets and making it his own. He eclipses the whole of his gender. And now I say my vow to you, the only vow that needs to be said. As you're mine, I am yours. I give you my hand, my heart, and my love for as long as we both shall live.
And the excessive flattery, of course, was eclipsing the whole of my gender. I think pretty highly of myself, but holy fuck, dude. There's 3.5 billion of us. Like, the fuck? All right, that's one thing, right? This woman, though, think about what she just said. As you are mine, I'm yours, or whatever exactly it was. This is a creature who was actively sucking and fucking other men's dicks weeks before this and weeks after it. Had been doing it for years and would do it for years. Had full intent to go do it, had been doing it, and knew she would continue doing it. Walking down the aisle in front of Steve, there's fucking Steve, my best man. Greg Swan's up there marrying us, knowing full fucking well what she's done and will continue to do. As I'm yours, you are mine. Psychopath. They're good at hiding and they get off on this shit. They're thrill-seeking. Because they feel dead inside, this is how they feel alive. Here we go. Put Socrates up here. This is great.
Say it again. Sociopaths and psychopaths. These are fucking dangerous individuals. I'm not kidding. These are dangerous individuals. And you're going to stick your dick in.
I get it.
Be
We'll
very careful here. We'll come back to this. All right? Furthermore, these people are unable or unwilling to make social connections. They either don't know how, or God forbid, are unable to. And if they're unable to, they are genetically damaged. And these people exist. They're amongst us. Not here today, but they're out there. Be wary of this. There are monsters in this world, and they exist. And they look and act just like us.
Yep. Best guy in the room equipped to spot this stuff. On the fucking lookout for it. God bless Socrates, one of the best human beings I fucking know.
She was in the room.
Not only in the room,
Looking at me at that.
she was in the presentation. That is how deep these sharks swim. That is how low they fly under the radar. Not just in the fucking room, in the fucking presentation. She ends up watching this. We're going to get into this. We'll talk about it. I think I have the slides of it, though. We'll skip them then. She watched this speech with that guy in the email, the Socrates speech. She watched this speech about us after fucking that guy. I talked to him about it. He's like, yeah, the big guy. Yeah, it was with you and Marilee in it. I'm like, yeah, that's the keynote. She fucked this guy all weekend, sat in a hotel bed in Fort Myers Beach, 30 minutes for me and Kevin working our ass off, watches this speech just to fucking thrill seek, to fucking get off on it. It's about me and her and how great our relationship is. Just fucking doing it. Power and control, feeling it, trying to feel alive. In the fucking room, best guy equipped to spot it.
Say it again.
Oh shit. Number one threat, by the way. Socrates, I believe, was by far her number one threat for getting caught. Greg Swan was a close second, but Socrates lived in Florida. We spent a lot more time with Socrates, than we did with Greg. By far, he was number one threat. And do you know how she manipulated and controlled him and kept him at a distance? Feminism. Socrates' screaming narrative is feminism. She tuned into this, picked up on it, and played on it. And I realized this a few weeks ago because he told me with his interview with her in Tampa, he said, I just thought we were talking about feminism. And I was like, fuck. That's how she kept him at bay. She kept him distracted, misdirection, like a magician. You misdirect, create illusions, keep him occupied. What did Socrates talk to you guys about yesterday? Feminism. Keep them occupied, keep them distracted. This is how psychopaths think. Master fucking manipulators, thinking out multiple possible scenarios at all different times, keeping people like Socrates, goddamn hero, at bay. We're in his house, filming videos, all kinds of shit. Number one threat, even kept him at bay. Full lizard mode. This one, thanks to Mike McNally we found, is really creepy. We're gonna go over, by the way, yeah.
I just wanted to clarify, your wife, she wasn't your, I'm trying to phrase this, it's me, just to let everybody know, it's me. I was your first girlfriend by choice. You had girls who wanted to date you in high school. It's the fact that you refused he refused to settle. And I'd love you to speak to that.
A lot of this is like so
So he avoided the drama of all those other crazy girlfriends that weren't the best for him. He just avoided it, like just went around it.
I did.
We're in the 21 convention, 2014. I'm on the stage just like this, doing a Q&A with you guys. She's bragging and giving me compliments about what a great job I did avoiding the drama and the crazy girls. This woman is escorting behind my back the whole time, continues to do it after, is cheating the whole time, is a basket case of fucking crazy in the conventional sense. In the middle of the fucking convention, what a great job you did avoiding the crazy. She knows full well what the fuck she's doing. Thrill-seeking, getting off on it, power, control, hiding. I'm good, I'm better than these people. You know, like the dating coach thing. Oh, I'm thinking about becoming a dating coach. You guys ever seen Jurassic Park? Who's here seen Jurassic Park? Everyone, right? Remember the noise the raptors make? You just heard it again. Think I'm fuck kidding, man. So we're gonna go a little bit over. It's fine. We'll make it work. I'll talk to the corporate. We'll figure it out. Gifts she gave me. World-class education of female psychopathy. 4.5 years, unintentional experience, learned a fucking lot. Still learning a lot, 4 months later. I got about 600 grand of free prostitution, over 1,000 orgasms. There are worse ways to be manipulated, guys. Like, it could have been worse, right? I also got to enjoy about $14,000 in plastic surgery. Didn't pay a dime for it, she got. All right. Sasha said I got paid to get laid, is what he says. You got paid to get laid, man. She spent tens of thousands of dollars in expensive meals and trips for me. She made about 10 times as much money as I did with this company. She's made a lot of money with her own company. And with the love bombing, she would just dump that shit on me. Guns, games, presents, trips to fucking Bali, all over America, down to Miami and the Keys and stuff, all over the place. And usually it doesn't work like this. With psychopaths and sociopaths, in that book they talk about, they milk the shit out of you for the money you have. But I'm such a cheap ass, second only to Sasha, cheapest guy in the world. The guy's my fucking hero. Where is he? Is he here? Yeah, she didn't get anything out of me like that. And in fact, it went in the opposite direction, which is really great. Just being so fucking genuine for so fucking long, just had to keep love bombing, right? Just keep love bombing. She also gave me a detailed lesson in what I don't want in my life, in the most extreme sense possible. It's hard to do worse than Medusa. So I know what I don't want better than ever. And in reverse, I know much better what I do want. She's also enabling me to discover and confront the darkest parts of humanity. She gave me night vision for this stuff, right? Doesn't mean I have magic powers, but I'm a lot better than I was at spotting this stuff now. And that's great, right? I was not aware of this part of human life beforehand. I thought I was. Hell no, not even close. Now I am. She's enabled that, and I'm thankful for that. This is something Nick Sparks, by the way, talked to me about. What are you thankful for with her? Or what could I be thankful of? I was even skeptical that it could be, but I am. These are gifts she gave me, and they're great. And psychopaths, I do believe, like David Tam was talking about, they're about 1, maybe 2% of the population. They're by far the darkest creatures on the face of the earth. By far the darkest parts of the human race. If they're even human, right? Or Homo sapiens, we'll say that. So she enabled me to discover them, become aware of them, and now I can confront them openly. I did have a blind spot, by the way, that you guys should also be aware of because you might have it too. When you have high self-esteem, your automatic response to most things that you see in the world that are fucked up is just stupidity. It's something Nathaniel Brennan talks about with like politicians, right? You see politicians do stupid stuff. If you have good self-esteem, your first response should be, and usually is, oh, fucking idiots. Goddamn fucking stupid, right? You don't think evil. Evil is a very distant second for you. This for me was a big blind spot though, because I always thought, and I was right, Marilee is not stupid enough to cheat on me. She's never not stupid enough to do that. True, she's not. But I never considered that she was evil enough to do it with intent and with malice. That was outside of my vision. Could not see that, could not even consider it as a possibility, that I would attract that into my life, such harm and trauma, with intent. So she was evil enough, even though she wasn't stupid enough. Something also that I talked to Mitch about the other day, one of the attendees here, like an alumni attendee too, and I thought nothing of it because this is how I live my life, but he thought I was very principled and how I handled like all this. So the moral perfection, never lied, cheated, or hit, not even once. I had a very easy time with monogamy. I don't have problems hooking up with girls. I'm doing great since the divorce, like really great. It's been great. That's fun, that's nice, right? But principled throughout it. Also, what he specifically mentioned was I took the ring off immediately with cheating. My position in the relationship with her from day one was 0 tolerance for hitting, 0 tolerance for cheating. If you ever cheated on me even once, instantly done, permanently.
That's it. I did give her the out. I was like, look, if you go to therapy for like 3 or 4 years before I knew she's a psychopath, I'm like, you can text me. You know, we'll see what happens. But other than that, we're done. Like, you're absolutely fucking stranger to me now. Ring off, made it public. You know, I'm single. Fuck being divorced, just single. Skipping that fucking status update. And we had 0 vaginal sex after the cheating. I did let her blow me and stuff for like another week or 2 in Orlando when I was up here with Sock. I was like, yeah, sure. And she kept trying to fuck me. That's how they get control. Sock warned me about this. Stuck to my guns, didn't have vaginal sex with her. I was like, yeah, no. Tried everything in the fucking book, everything. And she knows how to work. She knew how to work me like you wouldn't believe. Nope, fuck you, because you don't deserve it. But you can blow me all you want. Yeah, let's do that. All right. Because that to me is a lot less meaningful. That's just fun. That's just playing around for me. That's not, sex is meaningful, right? Sex is important in human life. It's like one of the pinnacle experiences, intercourse. So, nope. Stuck to my guns, was principled. Proud of that, happy I did it. And thanks to Mitch for bringing this up. Is he here? Yeah, thank you. One of the things Bravo mentioned to me as a legitimate concern, and he's right, is that people will create excuses from this talk. Because I'm trying to scare you guys, because you guys don't realize. It's hard to understand when David, Tien, and Socrates talk about this. This shit's real. It's really real, and it's really hard to fucking see. You're meeting psychopaths all the time. At the club, a lot of them at the club, like David's talking about, he's right. You're meeting at work, in the workplace, at the grocery store, at the movies. You're meeting these people all the time, these creatures. You have no idea. Regardless, Bravo was right that you guys might use this presentation as an excuse to take to inaction, to staying away from women. No. I know damn well what's out there now better than ever, and yeah, I'm out in the sexual marketplace again, having a great fucking time. My eyes are wide open now, truly, and they're glued open, staying open forever because of the experience. Great. But no matter how dangerous the sexual marketplace is with these predators that lurk in the depths beneath the zero, no excuse to not get out there, meet the woman you want to meet, have the sex you want to have the relationships you want to have. Do it. Yes, it's dangerous, extremely fucking dangerous. Take that to heart, though, that you can still, there's still, women are not, Marilee, one of the gifts she gave me that I didn't mention is that she taught me that she is not representative of all women. Not even close. A huge chunk of them, up to 15% of the population of cluster B disorders, which is 1 billion people, by the way, 1 out of 7. So 500 million of which are women. There's plenty of danger in the marketplace, right? There's a lot. But no excuse, guys, no excuse. And so you guys know as well, and Socrates picked up on this with me too, everything I experienced from my perspective, so one direction, right? She felt nothing in reverse, is incapable of empathy, incapable of love. But everything I experienced was genuine and real, even if it was based on complete bullshit, factual data I was getting, all nonsense. From my position out, it was real, and it was genuine. This has actually strengthened my convictions about romantic love and marriage and monogamy. Seriously. Most horrifyingly disgusting, sloppy seconds, cheating, prostitution, pathological lying, fucking psychopathy, everything. Nope. I know exactly what I did, and I know it's real, and if I can do it, so can a woman who is also a human being. There are some differences in the physical elements, psychological, true. Speakers talk about that. But if I can do it, to me it's improbable and implausible that I can't get out what I dished out back in return. Whatever you dish out is what you can get back. And I felt that, and it was real, and it was genuine, and I was serious about it. And that's great. So no excuses. Also, look at, I was talking to one of the staff members last night. I've done a really great job, and so even though this relationship obviously really sucked in totality, I've done a great job, and I didn't even realize it till last night basically, maintaining and managing long-term relationships in my life. With my family, with my friends, with business partners, with the speakers, with attendees, all you guys. I have Socrates as a friend of 10 years. My friend Tim, also over 10 years. I have a best friend of 23 years. We've known each other since we were 5 years old. The speakers, Steve Maeda has been here since 2008. The film director, Michael Gutino, since 2008. I've done a really good job in this business and then in my friendships maintaining long-term relationships. So clearly I could have also taken the position that relationships suck, and they're all fucked up, but no. I've done a good job with it in my life outside of intimate relationships, and I believe that can also apply with intimate relationships. And thanks to the staff member who mentioned this yesterday, I'm better able to see this and understand this. Anyway, no excuses, guys. Get out there, fucking do it. I did want to put this out there real quick. I believe I've just done one of the longest
unintentional observational studies on a female psychopath in history. So if any researchers are watching this and want to talk to me, get all the video I have, all the shit. I have a really great resume for female psychopaths. Fucked one over 1,000 times, 4.5-year relationship, cohabitation of over 4 years, worked together out of the house for over 4 years. We spend a lot of time together. Probably what people would spend otherwise in a 6 to 8 year relationship in 4 years. Because we worked together, lived together, slept together, except when she was cheating, escorting, or shopping. Otherwise, we're together every day for years. Traveled around the world. I have thousands of emails and text messages, and I have a shit ton of video of a female psychopath in the wild. Not in captivity, not in prison where they usually study them like the men, in the wild, with a really fascinating set of characters. All the speakers, like astrophysicists, architects, PhDs, medical doctors, philosophers, dating coaches, relationship coaches, personal trainers, biomechanics experts. Like just seeing her with these people is like, holy fuck, there's so much data here. So if anyone's watching this who's into this stuff, contact me. I also have a lot of private video that is not on YouTube. So we got that too, which is interesting, seriously. Like we'll get into it later, but there's a predator stare, and I think on video we have it captured, which is awesome, where their eyes, their pupils dilate. It's fucking crazy. I want to support the nonviolent witch hunt that this book advocates, or they think is coming. This book talks about how witch hunts throughout history have been just based on complete nonsense, clearly. Witchcraft, race, color, skin color, whatever the fuck, right? No. Psychopaths and male psychopaths, female psychopaths, this is a witch hunt worth going on. These are predators. These people are actively at war, these creatures, with human beings. They hunt you. They do not give a fuck about you. They will chop you into little pieces. They will torture you in a relationship. They will steal millions and billions of dollars and destroy people's lives. They don't give a fuck. I say we raise awareness of psychopathy and breed them out of existence to the extent it's genetic. And I'm serious. This will take a long time. I'm pretty young. I look forward to seeing progress on it. Seriously. They do not deserve to be a part of the human race. We should not get violent, not actually go on a witch hunt. Raise awareness, spot them, ostracize them, let them just breed themselves out of existence. They can breed with themselves, they won't. Psychopaths are competitive predators. They fucking hate each other. Sociopaths, psychopaths, narcissists, they will not breed. If we spot them well enough on a large enough scale, they will die out. I'm serious. It didn't take a long time, but let's fucking do it. You guys are also, by the way, at high risk of relationships with psychopaths, narcissists, sociopaths. You're also the most dangerous prey. And also, I have a quote here from Ayn Rand I love, prepare to judge and be judged, which is exactly what we're doing here. I'm prepared to be judged. If y'all are critical of what I've done and the way I'm portraying this, let's talk about it. But again, you guys are number one targets, and you're not average and you're not safe. But be the sheepdog. You are dangerous. If a female psychopath dates you like she did with me and marries you and whatever, I mean, look what's happening now. I'm going to out Mary Lee with everything. The truth will be televised to 100-something thousand people who know who she is. That is how you deal with psychopaths. You do not let them get away with the crap they do. Sometimes they go to prison and they get executed. Great. Other ones get away with it. They walk away with it. Feminism supports this, right, with the females in particular. Do not let them act with impunity. We're going to talk. The truth shall be televised. I have the evidence. It's not slander, not defamation. I can prove it. It's factual. Let's get it out there. Let's find more of them. Get the evidence, get the proof, out them, ostracize them. Be dangerous. Make sure that if they date you or they get you in a relationship, that it ends up being a very dangerous experience for them too. Finally, the ultimate gift Mary Lee gave me, she made me realize that I am definitely not invincible. This shit hurt. But I am unbreakable. And that was the ultimate test, being in a relationship with her, opening up completely to someone who I thought was my soulmate, and then discovering that she'd been trying to hurt me for 4.5 years, actively and with intent. The ultimate test of being broken did not break. We're here today. You guys sitting in those seats are fucking evidence of that. She was a worthy opponent. Thanks, bitch. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Anthony Johnson.